and welcome back to our take on cruise with Shannon and Roger, or
Roger and Shannon.
My name is Shannon McKee of Access Cruise, and with me today I have a very devious
Roger Blum with Cruise and Port Advisors, and today Shannon picked this beautiful location here in Coral Gables. There's really some beautiful traditional sites, and actually I kind of feel like this is a place you go for wedding photos or something.
You do. We've done family photos, Christmas photos here before.
Oh.
That's how I remembered it. But you're being a little devious because I'm rushing off to a business meeting after this, and you're like, I wonder if I threw you in the water, how long would it take to forgive you? A long, long time.
Well, I'll tell you what, we can get all of our viewers to put in the comments, and they can all predict how long it's going to take.
There you go. So what are we going to talk about this week? I saw some interesting news.
What did you say?
Well, one of the pieces was Chris Austin. So if you don't know Chris Austin, he's a great guy. Originally, he came from Seabourn. He moved over to Explora Journeys, and he's just been named the president of Explora Journeys. So along with that, they've said that they want to become dominant in the luxury marketplace with Explora Journeys.
Well, they have their second ship coming out this year,
Yep.
and plans more ships coming, so they're definitely growing.
And we just had an inaugural cruise with them in Hawaii.
Oh, wow.
Ooh, exactly.
That sounds
Gorgeous
exciting.
vessel.
So things are happening there.
Things are happening.
There's a few other things on my
Yes,
mind.
tell you.
One of them is a few months ago we were talking all the time about wave season, and then I went into one of my little discussions about economics and supply and demand, blah blah blah. Well, it turns out what I
You were
said.
an economic major.
Thank you. Turns out what I said was really very true. Royal Caribbean, Jason Liberty just came out with their latest earnings, and one of the interesting tidbits from that is that they only have 12% of their inventory left to sell for the remainder of the year. That means they've sold 88% of the entire year. So that 12% that's left, talking about supply and demand, that's a really small supply, and prices are going up. So for those
right.
of you who are watching, and we said if you want to buy a cruise, buy it, because it's not going to get any cheaper.
That's true, and especially I suspect this summer is probably already chock-a-block. So if you're looking to take a cruise, make sure you book it now, because it's going to be very difficult as the year goes on.
Absolutely.
The other piece of information that I thought that I wanted to share was the fact that Azamara, we've seen that there will be a leadership change, and that leadership change is coming here in just a few weeks as Dondra Ritzenthaler is moving over into taking the presidency of Azamara Cruises. So leading up to her coming in just a few weeks' time, they made a big announcement that Azamara is doing very well and their sales look good. So it'll be really interesting to see how Dondra and Chris make impact with both of these organizations, and very niche market organizations.
Niche, high-end.
Yes, high-end, luxury, and I think with the Azamara, they're really into the exploration and immersion into the destination immersion. So I'm excited to see what's going to be coming out of those two brands.
So my last point that I'd like to talk about is I was involved in so many new ship deliveries. I was involved in the ships from the time they were on paper, through the construction, through the delivery, to the inaugurals. And I got to tell you, it's probably the most exciting thing that I ever did was the new ships. But also it was a tremendous amount of work, a tremendous amount of just lack of sleep, of organization, and of excitement.
Spending time in shipyards.
Oh, and just the inaugurals. So for a cruise line to pull that off once a year, that's a really big deal. Twice a year for big ships. Royal Caribbean's going to have 2 monster big ships this year within 7 months of each other. That's incredible. But Carnival just had the naming for their latest ship, the Carnival Firenze, in Long Beach. But what really stood out about that for me is, it's exciting, it's a new ship, it's Carnival by Costa, their second Carnival by Costa ship, or Costa by Carnival ship, whatever. I'm kind of like you with today's talent tomorrow. But in any case, for Carnival, I really want to take my hats off. This is their 6th naming ceremony in a little over 2.5 years. That means they brought 6 giant ships into service in that short amount of time. So
Wow.
My hat's off to you guys.
Yeah.
I think everybody at Carnival, whether it's shipboard, shoreside, you need to get on a cruise, go up to the Serenity deck, have a cocktail, and chill, because you've been working hard.
You know what? I have to agree with you. I did a lot of inaugurals at Norwegian, and that is impressive. 6 ships in 2.5 years. Incredible. Well, that's about it for what I have this week. I know that we did get an outreach from Sea Trade already, planning for Malaga and Asia coming up in the fall, but we'll talk about that on a future episode. Until then, I'm going to say goodbye. Anything else from you?
I think we should leave with a big splash.
Bye.